A strategy is not enough. But in this episode, I'm going to tell you what you do need to be a successful real estate investor in 2023, and it's probably not the thing you've heard everyone else talking about. Let's get started right now. Welcome to the podcast, Real Estate Investing with Coach Carson. I'm your host, Chad Carson. You can also call me Coach. And this is a show to help you build a profitable and passive rental property business so you can spend more of your time doing what matters. As a rental property investor, I'm willing to bet that the ultimate dream is to live off the cash flow from your properties. Each month, the rent reliably comes in and you use the money that's left over to pay the bills. But you might have found that making progress towards this dream isn't always easy. For some reason, your own experience might not be as smooth as the success stories you've seen online or heard in podcasts. You're over here working your tail off, trying to do everything right, and not quite getting enough traction. But then you hear about some investor in their 20s who's bought 30 properties in 4 years and has now achieved financial independence. What's the problem? Is it the economy? Is it rising interest rates? Is it you? Or perhaps the problem is that you have the wrong real estate investing strategy. For example, you could switch to the popular BRRRR method, where you buy properties at a low price, remodel them, get them rented out, then refinance them to pull all your money back out, and then repeat. Or maybe you should try the latest financing strategy, like buying properties subject to the mortgage with little or none of your own money without getting a new bank loan. Or maybe you need to switch the types of properties you buy. Instead of just buying single-family houses or duplexes, maybe you need to up your game and buy multifamily apartments and mobile home parks. Or maybe you need to change the strategy of the types of tenants you rent to. Instead of the normal long-term tenants, maybe you need to switch to short-term tenants, mid-term tenants, or maybe even Section 8 tenants. There's actually nothing wrong with any of these strategies. During my 21 years of investing and 15 years of coaching other investors, I've either used or helped other people use each of these strategies and more. But here's the problem. A strategy alone, even a good one, won't help you achieve your real estate investing goals. Here's one way to look at it. If it were true that the right strategy determined your real estate investing success, then anytime you experienced a setback or a failure, it would just be a problem with your strategy. And how do you fix that problem? You just switch strategies. And this leads to something called strategy chasing, where you bounce from one strategy to another. I have a very smart and successful investor friend in Houston, Texas named Arian Shihai. You can find some helpful articles by him at investingarchitect.com. And he calls this bouncing around shiny strategy syndrome. It's just a real estate version of the shiny object syndrome. With shiny strategy syndrome, it always seems like the grass is greener on the other mountain. So you switch mountains or strategies to check it out, but then as soon as you arrive, you realize that there's another mountain or another strategy that looks even greener. The problem is that bouncing around from strategy to strategy never gives you the time to truly master the business skills that you need to succeed. And your team members, like a real estate agent or a lender or a contractor, don't know how to help you because you haven't focused enough. Here's the thing. Show me any real estate investing strategy, and I'll show you someone today making it work. All the strategies work, but they work because successful investors get very good at the other business activities that support and make those strategies possible. For example, when you listen to a podcast and you hear about a successful investor who used the BRRRR method to build a rental property empire, there's always more to the story. That investor also did a lot of other things well in their business, like managing their time well, maximizing their personal productivity, building a team, qualifying for mortgages, learning to generate leads from motivated sellers, negotiating well to buy at low prices, running the numbers to buy good deals, estimating remodel cost accurately, performing due diligence to avoid costly mistakes, managing tenants well, keeping good financial books and records, and creating good systems and processes. Choosing a strategy was certainly part of this investor's success. But these other activities, which were about building skills, building systems, building a team, were really the key to that strategy's success. I call this broader set of activities the ones that actually lead to rental property success, business building. You can think of these business building activities as a larger circle that includes all of the components of a successful rental property business. Strategy is included in this circle, but it's only one part of many. And I found that the reason many people can choose a good strategy and still not find the success they're looking for can be found within this circle. While chasing the latest strategy, they've ignored the real game, which is building a rental property business. A business is a separate entity from yourself. It's made up of systems and processes and team members who help you run the business on a day-to-day basis. And if you build this business well, it will eventually only require a minimum amount of your time while still providing you a full-time income. This is called passive income. And yes, passive income is a thing and it is possible. And I can actually give you a firsthand example. As I'm recording this, I'm living in Spain with my family for a year. And while here, I work on my rental property business about 2 hours per week on average. And yet, our rental properties pay for 100% of my family's expenses and then some. Maybe 2 hours of work per week doesn't count as passive for you, but it does for me. I have plenty of time and flexibility to do all of the other activities that matter to me. And the key lesson here is that getting to this type of passive rental property business didn't just come from picking a great strategy. It came from business building. In other words, I've spent years building my personal skills, my business systems, and my team to be able to execute my chosen strategy well. When I wrote my new book, The Small and Mighty Real Estate Investor, which by the way will be coming out later this year in July of 2023, one of my primary goals was to provide an instruction manual. I want you to be able to read the book and have a guide to build a rental property business. Basically, I want to give you a model to follow. And since writing the book, I've tried to think about how to simplify that concept even further. And that led me to something called a business blueprint. Before you start building a house, or in this case, a rental property business, you first need an overall blueprint. A blueprint is the design and the instructions on how to build the overall structure. First and foremost, a blueprint needs to be tested and proven to work. But importantly, it also needs to align with your personal style and goals. For example, when I was brand new, I took a course and I learned and then copied a business blueprint of another investor who was buying, fixing up, and flipping 50 houses per year and making a lot of money. But I didn't realize until later that that particular business blueprint kept me stressed and busy all of the time. It didn't allow me to take breaks and to travel, which were both a key part of why I started investing in the first place. This original blueprint didn't align with my personal goals. So I had to create my own blueprint by studying and modeling other investors. For example, John Schaub, who's the author of Building Wealth One House at a Time. By the way, if you stick around to the end of the episode, I'm going to tell you how you can get my business blueprint for free. So once your business blueprint is in place, your next role is like the general contractor who actually builds the house. Your job is to oversee the building process, including the foundation and the structure and all of the systems that make this a business you can be proud of. When you build a rental property business, each property you buy, each skill you build, each long-term relationship you build is like adding another brick to the structure of your business. But remember that unlike building a house, you don't have to be an expert and you don't have to be perfect to start building a rental property business. If you're anything like me, you'll inevitably make mistakes while you're building, and that's okay. Because you really have a choice. You could spend your entire life reading books and listening to podcasts, and you'll never make a mistake. But at the same time, you'll never make any progress. Doing that is like staring at the blueprint and never starting to build the house. The other choice, of course, is to start building. And the beautiful thing about building a rental property business is that you can take it slowly. You can make progress, and then you can get better and improve with each step that you take. So I've been using some metaphors and my own personal stories to try to make a point. Let me summarize it here. For most of us, the goal of owning rental properties is passive income. But along the way, it's easy to get stuck and not make enough progress. And it's easy to think that the solution to this is to just switch strategies or to find the best real estate investing strategy. But the takeaway here is that while strategy is important, it's not enough. Successful investors focus on a broader strategy to build all of the components of a rental property business. It's like building the foundation and the structure of a house. And the outline of this business building effort is a blueprint, the design and the instructions. And that brings me to what's next. If you're someone who likes my approach to investing, I want to teach you my own rental property business blueprint. And I'm going to do that live the Wednesday after this episode airs on April 19th in a webinar called the Rental Property Business Blueprint. And if you happen to listen to this episode later, I'll also have a replay available for you. To attend, you can register for free at coachcarson.com/business blueprint. I'll also have a link in the podcast description and the YouTube description. Everyone who registers for the webinar will get a free PDF document of the actual business blueprint. Then in the webinar itself, I'll go step by step through the 15 different essential components of the blueprint that you need to build a successful rental property business. Some of these components will be topics you're familiar with here at Coach Carson, like finding good deals, financing your deals, creating a buy box, and building a team. But other components will be topics and skills I haven't covered as much, like negotiating with sellers, becoming more productive with your time, managing your properties efficiently, and keeping excellent financial records and books. And while we're on the topic, I want to give you a sneak preview of why I'm teaching this business blueprint. Ultimately, this business blueprint is just the first step. Like building a house, my plan is to help you turn this blueprint into reality and actually build a better rental property business for yourself. So the next step after this free blueprint webinar, for those of you who are interested, is a new course that I'm super excited about called 30 Days to a Better Rental Investor. Using the blueprint as a guide, I'm going to take you through daily actions to build the structure of a successful rental property business, all in 30 days. Helping you pick the right investing strategy will certainly be part of it, but there's going to be so much more. And you'll wake up 30 days later with the structure and the momentum of a rental property business you can be proud of. Plus, during those 30 days, I'm going to be hosting several live coaching calls so that you can interact with me and a pop-up online community so that you can interact with me and others inside the course. So the course 30 Days to a Better Rental Investor will be available very soon, next Monday, April the 24th, in fact. If you're interested, I'll announce it here on the podcast and in my email newsletter. But the first and the next opportunity to improve your rental property business is the free webinar, the Rental Property Business Blueprint. And you can register for that for free at coachcarson.com/business blueprint. Again, that's coachcarson.com/business blueprint. And I'll also have a link to that in the podcast description and the YouTube description. I really look forward to working with you and helping you build your own rental property business. I hope you found this episode helpful, and I hope to see you soon.